Salve discipuli et discipuli. The Myth Project summary that was due November 14th was a complex assignment and challenging. Few people turned it in, and of those who turned it in, even fewer have met the requirements for the assignment. I'm making this video to help you navigate Schoology so that you understand where to turn in your work. If you're struggling with how to do the assignment itself, please see me outside of class time during advisory or enrichment lab or in the half hour after school on a Monday or a Wednesday. So the first thing you need to do is to get into Schoology. You know how to do that, most of you, from your school laptops. It's harder to do from home, but if you need help, I can send you a link. Once you're into Schoology and you go to your courses, click on our course. It's going to have a picture from our storybook on it. Be sure to pick the correct section. Once you open our course, this is what you'll see. And you're going to want to go to, let me take a quick picture here, quick screenshot. You're going to want to go to the Myth Project folder for everything. And that's this. So it says Myth Project. You just find it inside the course. Once you open that up, get rid of it there. Once you open up the Myth Project folder, this is what you're going to see. So you'll see a series of assignments. I realize that that's confusing. What you've got to do is you've got to look for the assignment that's most current. It's going to have the due date on it. So this is the one, 11/14, November 14th, that was due yesterday and that I just finished grading. And that's the one you got to go to. It's the most recent one. So please open that up. Once you open the assignment, your page will look like this. You'll see a button in the upper right that will say Submit Assignment. This student's button says Resubmit because he's already done it. But in order to submit your work, you click on that button, and that's going to open up a field into which you can you can do your writing, copy and paste your summary, or write. You'll need to click on the Create tab so you see how that's the second tab in the window. And once that window is open, you can do your writing in there. Either paste your summary or write an original piece. So that's how you submit it. I'd like to take a look at a completed summary that is very close to perfect. But overall, he does a great job retelling the story, partially in his own words, supporting a detail in that story with a quote that he found in the book that's in our classroom, the translation of Ovid's Metamorphoses. He found this in the book. He cited it, then he explains what it means, and then he gives a theme of the story. So let's just read this real quick and take this in, because this is what the kind of writing you need to do. I'm sorry my neighbors are playing loud music in the background. Please ignore it. So this is the part where he retells the story. In the myth of Bacchus and Mercury, Mercury is the Roman god known for being clever and quick. Clever and quick are definitely not his words. He really should use something that's a little bit more normal speech for him. So I know this was kind of copied and pasted from a website, but I also know that he understood the story. While Bacchus is a simple countryman, again, countryman, what does that mean? You probably want to just change that to farmer or something. The story shows how Mercury tricks Bacchus and teaches an important lesson about honesty. That's a good sentence. That's a theme. For example, Mercury steals some cattle and asks Bacchus to keep quiet about it. That's a good sentence, normal American English. Mercury promises Bacchus a reward if he does not tell anyone. Bacchus agrees. But later Mercury returns in disguise and offers Bacchus even more money if he reveals who stole the cattle. Those are good sentences. Bacchus, being, I think he meant persuaded by the new offer, tells Mercury the truth, breaking his promise. And then Mercury says, Mercury should be capitalized here, so yeah, we need a little bit of proofreading. Okay. Mercury says, and here's the quote he found. Here's the quote the student found in the book. Are you snitching on me to my own face? Betraying me to my own very self? That is an excellent quote. Again, so just notice this is a quote from the book that you had to have in this assignment. And then He cites it, he says where the quote came from exactly. Ovid's Metamorphoses, Book 2, line 790. That is perfect. Okay? And that helps me find the Latin for you. And then he goes on to talk about a theme of the story, what the quote means and what the theme is. This event proves that Bottis was not trustworthy. Mercury punishes Bottis, this is the end of the story, by turning him into stone. The story uses this punishment to show that keeping your word is important. That is a theme. That is a message for the story, message of the story for today. That's what a theme is, right? It's a message of the story for us today. Keeping your word is important. And also, greed can lead to trouble. That's another theme. Okay. Half the problems in the world right now are from greed. Mercury's trick also shows how gods and myths often test humans to see whether they are honest or loyal. He should get rid of the if there. And whether is spelled like this. So scholar who wrote this, if you're watching this, you can use it to proofread. Okay, so that's the story. That's a quote. That's a citation. And then a summary. The summary is kind of unnecessary, but it's okay. The myth of Bacchus and Mercury teaches us about the value of honesty and the consequences of giving in to temptation. That's another theme. Mercury's cleverness and Bacchus' a mistake help readers to understand why it is important to keep promises and not to let greed control our actions. So overall, this is a great summary. Your summary should be on this model. You're retelling the story in your own words. You find a quote in the actual poem itself, Ovid's Metamorphoses, that supports a detail from your story. You put it into the midst of your summary. And then after the quote, you finish telling the story and you say what the theme is in your opinion. Now, you may use Google and within limits, please, AI to help you with these tasks. But the story still needs to be written in your own words. Again, if you want extra help with this, please see me outside of class time during advisory or enrichment or in that half hour between the end of school and 4 p.m. on a Monday or Wednesday. Well, later.